me when you want me to do this, but in the middle of the night, I woke up in a cold sweat, and I came up with a brilliant NFL rule idea compromise.
Oh,
I don't know why it hit me in the middle of the night, but sometimes, I go to sleep thinking about how everybody argues with each other, not just in politics, but in sports. Sometimes there are compromises that are just so simple. And you may not love the compromise because that's the point of a compromise. You're meeting somewhere in the middle. But it hit me last night at about 2:45 in the morning. I woke up in a cold sweat. I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget it. And here's what I will tell you. And you guys let me know when you want me to break it to you. It's a compromise between NFL owners and the NFL Players Association that could get us to an 18th game.
18th game.
I thought of a compromise that would make the players say, okay, and we all get to an 18th game.
It's happening anyways, but so just tell us.
Oh, you want me to tell you now?
Yes.
All right, you ready for this?
Yes, let me hear it.
Don't yell at me. You got to think about it because your first reaction is to hate it.
Didn't we have a compromise yesterday about the pass interference rule?
Oh, yeah, we did?
Yeah, we did.
Well, you and I are good at compromise.
Yeah, we are.
So the owners want an 18th game. The players are like, hey, CBA, we got to reopen this. What are we talking about? We eliminate overtime in the regular season.
I don't hate that.
We now have ties in the NFL. And here's how it works.
Now, so how do you mitigate the ties at the end of the season? That's the only thing.
Okay, I will answer that. So
we're going to do a point system like the English Premier League or European soccer?
Or the NHL?
Or the NHL. But the NHL is just weird. It's like 2 points for a win.
Well, that's because they added the overtime loss.
Yeah.
Like it used to just be a tie. Here's a point.
Right. In soccer, it's 3 points for a win,
right.
1 for a tie if it ends in a tie, and then in nothing if you lose.
Right. So there are a few layers on why this makes so much sense. Number one, if you are the owners, you're telling the players, look, player safety, we are eliminating the amount of minutes you have to play football. Remember, a few years ago, they moved overtime from 15 minutes to 10 minutes.
Yeah, but you're playing a whole nother game.
I understand.
Go ahead.
But I'm just saying this is part of the compromise.
Okay, let's hear it.
Number one, player safety, right? Mm-hmm. Number two, from a TV perspective, this is a TV show. Do they really want a lot of the 1 o'clock games running into
good
the
point.
4 o'clock window?
That's a great point.
So, number two, you kind of fix the TV issue. As a fan, can I tell you the perk of it?
Let me hear it.
I love the NFL. Don't we all get headaches from NFL tiebreak situations? They're very, very confusing. We're sitting here in December.
But isn't this going to create more tiebreak situations?
Not at all.
Why?
Because how many overtime games were there last year? If you had to guess. I have the answer, by the way. But
I'm going to say 12.
You say 12. How many do you say, Sean? You got to guess?
4.
You say 4. How about you, Loogie?
I'm going to go 20.
Okay. Tiki and Loogie are actually, they have half a brains. Sean was way off. There was 16 ties. So you guys were kind of in the middle.
Hey.
So 16 overtimes, which means there'd be 16 ties, right?
Perfect overbid, underbid.
There you go. That's really not, it's not like a team is going to finish, 5-5-8 or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that many ties. So what it does is instead of 10-7, 10-7, there's going to be a 9-6-1.
But you're also, depending on, just to interrupt you for a brief second, you're also going to get more head coaches. You score the game-tying touchdown pending the extra point.
Oh, going for 2?
Just go for 2.
Depends your situation.
Right.
Late in the season, you may say, I benefit from the tie.
Yeah.
I'm just kicking the extra point.
True, but it's going to change strategy a little bit at the end of game.
It does change strategies, which you could argue is more exciting. But I think the fan benefit is the tiebreakers will just become less confusing because there will be less need for them when ties are thrown into the equation, and now you got half games where clearly, and I apologize, I added it to 17. Obviously, we're moving to an 18-game schedule.
Right.
So 10-7-1 versus, I got to do more math, 9-9. I don't know. You know what I mean? The point is,
so
it makes
10-7-1
versus 10-8.
10-8
10-8.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10-8 versus 10-7-1.
Right, 10-8 versus 10-7-1.
Yeah.
The 10-7-1 makes the playoff.
Of course. So it makes the tiebreak situation less confusing. I want to make this clear before you guys respond. This is a compromise. I'm not telling you I love it. I'm saying this is a way to meet in the middle with the players and the owners.
I don't hate this.
Thank you, Tiki.
As much as you thought I would. I actually kind of like the idea of regular season games not having to be concluded.
And you know why I think you like it? Because deep down, there was a long history of NFL action in which there wasn't overtime. Overtime is a relatively new invention.
Oh, yeah, my first year.
No, we had overtime in your first year. I think it started in like 19.
I know, but I'm saying we
finished
finished the game in a tie, though.
Oh, I got you.
right? Fossil was 10-6-1, or I mean, 10-5-1, or whatever it was. I feel we had a tie definitely that year. I think because we tied Washington.
Right, but you had to play a complete overtime to get to that tie.
That's true.
I'm suggesting we just get rid of overtime, and we haven't. By the way, I looked it up real quick, 1974. So when you really think about it, it is sort of recent. What do you guys think of my brilliant compromise?
You know why I'm more in for it?
Because you're a player?
Because of soccer.
Oh, okay.
Because I've gotten used to ties. And in fact, you kind of root for it. It's better to lose 2 points as opposed to 3.
No, I got you.
I don't even know how to not strangle you. I hate it so much.
It's not that bad.
No, can I just explain something?
Go ahead.
And Tiki, this is actually not a shot at soccer. I actually think part of the pie of why a lot of American sports fans haven't gravitated to soccer is the idea that there's so many ties.
Right, but also they also play 38 club games, so
I understand why it's
you
different.
can't go into
I understand
90-plus minutes forever.
And we're adding an 18th game. We're getting closer to that, aren't we?
There's a couple things that you guys hit on. Number one, I actually think the league is gravitated towards what Tiki was alluding to anyway. I would venture to guess there would be way more overtimes, if not for coaches being more aggressive at the end and not wanting overtime like Tiki had said. So I don't think that's necessarily a factor. But Ivan, I sat there for Giants Commanders in that stadium a couple of years ago and watched a tie unfold. And to this day, any sporting event I've ever been to, and this includes some hockey ties back there, I've never had a more empty feeling and didn't know. I felt like I wasted my time for 7 hours and I won a game like that. It's a horrible feeling in the stadium. It's just like, oh, we committed all day to getting fired up for something, and I don't even get like the agony of loss or the like thrill of. It's just I'm telling you, it's a feeling you don't want as a
You're being very
fan.
selfish in responding to this.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I hate, and I would also say this: like, there's only. But think about it. There's only so many ties in the NFL every couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Now you're asking me to have like 20 ties in
I know, but
it's horrible.
Your entire answer was about how it makes you feel.
Well, because
I worded this as this is a compromise. Well, it's not perfect.
No.
It's a way to get to an 18th game. And, oh, by the way, there are some small benefits that come out of it. You just made it all about yourself. I expected that from Tommy, not as much you.
Because put yourself in take your IFO and be a fan for a second.
I am a fan. What do you think I'm not? I got to pretend.
Little spoiler alert for Roger Goodell in the NFL. I know it's all about money. Fans aren't clamoring for an 18th game. Half of us didn't even want 17 games. We love the 16-game setup. So now you have the fan. You think that many fans are clamoring for it? They're not. They're going to be even more pissed when they find out they have a lot more empty feelings and you don't even get the thrilling overtime moments. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. If that's the solution, then don't go to an 18th game. No fan wants it anyway.
I think Tommy likes the idea, right, Tommy?
Not really. But I don't like ties, period. I like the college overtime rules. This is a bigger discussion for another day. The product in the NFL stinks. And I think that we have to make it a little bit more exciting. I think there's a lot of reasons why we are locked in on it. Number one, gambling. But the product itself is not as good as it used to be. And I think the overtime, it's just another quarter of bad football. If you do the overtime rules in college, it forces the action. It builds up more drama, in my opinion. You have the 2-point conversions things that they've had in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but
so I like that more for overtime.
The problem
rules.
with that, with the college overtime, you talk about gambling becoming a big issue. All of a sudden, the over-unders become impossible. Right.
Well, I think that's why we're so locked in, and we excuse the product going down because we love gambling on it and watching it. Does that make sense?
No, I know what you're saying, but over-unders in college football are
they're ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah, the numbers are
all of a sudden there's like 5 touchdowns.
But it's exciting, the overtime in college, in my opinion.
It's definitely interesting, but it doesn't help the compromise idea I said, which is how do we get to an 18th game? It doesn't help that. It's an interesting idea.
Actually, that makes it worse. That makes it worse when
exactly.
I went further away.
Yeah, he took my compromise.
So then I hate your idea. I don't want to compromise.
Now you're playing like potentially 5 more possessions.
Yes.
That you don't help the cause.
No, both of you didn't help. Only Tiki did. Both of you just.
I kind of dig that.
Tiki digs it. We have an update.
I think they should institute that anyway.
Thank you very much.
Forget the 18th game. Let's do it now.
Let's just get rid of overtime. We'll give you a Matthew Stafford update in the next 5 minutes. But let's get to some of your calls, including Josh in the Bronx. How are you, Josh?
Oh, yes, hey, Evan. I'm doing great.
What's up, man?
Okay, I hope this update is not that the Giants are getting Matthew Stafford. I just want to start off by saying Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he is a great quarterback. It ends right there, then and there, with Matthew Stafford.
And why do you hate him, Josh?
Giants.
Why do you hate him?
And I don't hate him. He's actually on my fantasy team. He's my starting quarterback. I watched every single game of his this year. The problem is that he he does not fit in the Giants scheme. And the reason is, and the sole reason is because he is immobile. He cannot move. And the Giants offensive line is horrendous. So he is going to be an Aaron Rodgers 2.0 for the Giants. He's going to get hurt probably in game 1 or game 2. He's going to just be throwing the ball at the lineman's feet to avoid the sack.
It is a fair concern. If the Giants aren't fixing their offensive line, he is not exactly equipped to run around and make plays with his legs.
And it gets harder because you're paying Matthew Stafford a new contract.
Yeah.
So free agency is going to be a little bit of a bear.
Absolutely. I think he brings up some more fair points to why Stafford to the Giants is not the best idea.
It's a tangent conversation, but the evolution of the quarterback it's on us now.
Yes.
Like if you don't have that ability to athleticize your quarterback play, it becomes very easy for defenses to hem that guy in. And then force him to just be in the pocket. And that's a competitive disadvantage if you don't have a quarterback who can move a little bit these days.
And he can't.
Right.
And he's 37. Harry's in Clifton. What's up, Harry?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. First off, I just want to say, longtime Giants fan, Tiki, I think you should be in the Hall of Fame.
I appreciate that.
So I am dead against this Stafford coming to the Giants. First off, I don't believe you should trade draft capital for a 37-year-old quarterback who's going to be a statue behind the offensive line, who's, again, that last caller said it, is horrendous. Plus, he had better talent with the Rams. I say let's go for a Justin Fields or a the guy from Seattle who went to Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson as a stopgap. Let's hope one of the quarterbacks fall to us. And listen, I'm not sold on Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. I really like this kid Jackson Dart from Ole Miss.
Jackson Dart's gaining a lot of steam.
He is. He's going to go in the first round. Like the more we get closer to, not the draft, but we're in the combine right now. I don't know how much he's going to work out. I'm sure he will, but Jackson Dart's going to be one of those post-combine risers. You can feel it happening already because people are interested in his swagger. He's got talent, obviously, because he broke all of Eli's records down at Ole Miss. So he's a good quarterback. He's got a swagger about him, I don't know, this ego. I don't mean that in a bad way, but this ego that you need for a starting quarterback. And he is a little bit athletic. He's going to be the riser that everybody talks about.
Oh, no doubt. You could already sense it. Here's your update on Matthew Stafford. We'll hear from Sean McVay in just a few minutes. He was very forthcoming about the Rams and what they're dealing with and detailing the situation with Stafford. According to Jordan Schultz, Tom Brady hosted Matthew Stafford at his home in Montana.
Of course he did.
Where they spent time together.
Remember that team that I said has the real shot at Matt Stafford?
Oh, yeah.
It's the Las Vegas Raiders with their $95 million in cap space.
And their $100 million broadcaster, who also happens to own part of the team. But according to Jordan, Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford spent time together in Montana. Brady has been actively trying to convince Stafford to join the Raiders, and while together, they went skiing, which sounds like the dumbest idea humanly possible, because all it takes is one bad turn and his ACL falls off.
Right.
Like if I'm the Rams and I hear that Matthew, forget about hanging out with Tom Brady, who cares? If I hear that Matthew Stafford is skiing, come on.
It's also tampering.
No, they gave permission.
No. They gave his agent permission to seek a trade and contract extension. They didn't give Matt Stafford personal permission to go skiing with Tom Brady and go to his house in Montana for dinner.
Such a gray area with Tom Brady in the NFL right
he's
now.
a broadcaster.
He's a broadcaster. He's a team owner, and he's hanging out with a potential trade candidate.
Yeah. We just played Joe Shane yesterday.
Something's wrong with that.
Who couldn't say
I can't pinpoint exactly why that's not okay, but something is definitely wrong with that.
Yeah. I think, though, there's a lot of layers to this. I think the first layer that you brought up, Sean, the tampering thing, I'm going to make an assumption. And I understand when you make an assumption, you're an ass. I'm going to make the assumption that if the Rams are giving Stafford and his agent permission to talk to other teams about a contract, they're also giving the permission to hang out and cuddle up with Tom Brady. So I'm just making that assumption that this isn't some egregious thing. If it comes out that they didn't get permission, then sure, it's egregious. I mean, what's going on? But I'm going to believe that if they're allowing Stafford to explore his options, they're also allowing him to talk and hang out with an owner of another team.
So before you make your next point, so just to be clear, yesterday at the Combine, Joe Schoen is not allowed to confirm or deny.
Well, that's not true. That was Joe Schoen's choice to say that.
Yeah.
Joe Schoen decided, I'm keeping things close to the vest. It wasn't necessarily the league mandating it. Joe Schoen decided.
He played it smart, and he just played coy.
Yeah. I would actually say it's similar.
Neither confirming nor denying.
It's similar to what the Jets did about Aaron Rodgers. They had every right to say he stinks. They chose not to. So I wouldn't draw the conclusion that the Raiders were tampering based on Joe Schoen's approach to the media. That just may have been Joe Schoen's approach.
Yeah, I think he conveniently used the tampering idea, even though it was not brought up at all, to not have to discuss it.
Yeah, because I think Joe Schoen learned a little bit of a lesson from last year, and that's less is more.
Yes.
Because they were involved, as you may recall, in a television program called Off-Season Hard Knocks. And I think Joe Schoen's approach, rightfully so, is, you know what? I ain't giving you anything. I ain't giving you a damn thing.
Right.
But my biggest takeaway, if you believe this story, is that Matthew Stafford went skiing. Like, would you go skiing during the offseason?
No.
Thank you.
No, I'm playing. You get off one ski and all of a sudden you're going right at a tree and you try to dodge it and you just hit the tree, you break your leg?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck are you doing?
If I'm the Rams, I'm pissed off. I'm thinking I'm getting a second or third round pick for the guy. The guy is one ski accident away from you getting nothing for him.
Yeah, but they have like kiddie hills you can go on. You don't have to go on the adult hill.
Is that what you think they
Matt
were doing?
Stafford's going on the bunny hill.
Yeah.
I would be if I was Matthew
Are you
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford?
No, but I'm a
you
human
Tom
that
Brady?
fears hitting a tree, so I would think that he would probably, I have this great career, this great family.
No.
I'm not going to risk it by skiing.
No, I think there's a better chance of Matthew Stafford. I got nothing. I was going to use an analogy. I decided to back off. It was not an appropriate analogy around Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady, so I decided to put it away.